Welcome to another great edition of Cityscape, a show that highlights talent throughout the South Texas and Rio Grande Valley area. Today we're at the South Texas Comic Con. I'm sorry, I was going to say Comic Con, South Texas AuthorCon,
AuthorCon.
right here taking place within our building. It is the McAllen Creative Incubator, and so that's taking place right now as we speak. So there's still time. I think they're going to be here till 3 p.m. So if you're catching this live on YouTube or Facebook, come on out. I want to welcome everyone that's watching us over Facebook, YouTube, 97.7 FM Live, also over our TuneIn Radio app or Radio Garden. And so today we have a great interview with author Rosa Estela Mora. Welcome to our show.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you.
It is fascinating. We had a great time chatting before the show started. And so please tell us about your two books.
Okay, so we have Becoming Sofia Bosco, the first of my books. It was back in 2010 when I finally got the inspiration. I always had the idea of writing a book, writing a novel. And that day was a night I would just got the inspiration how to start the story. I drove back to my apartment. I opened my mini laptop. I used to have a laptop, it's a very small one, just to make payments, but I opened my mini laptop and started writing. So the first 3 chapters came to life that night. I was super excited about it. Then inspiration came back, and then he left and came back again. And it took me a few years to finish the book, the novel. And I remember it was New Year's Eve back in 2012. And I said, my New Year's resolution is to finish my novel. But little I knew that year I was going to make a trip that was going to be a source of inspiration for my book. And I had to go through those experiences in order to finish my book. So it was until during the pandemic, it was November 2020 that I finished my book. The first one, Becoming Sofia Bosco. So, then obviously I thought my dream came true. I already have a book, finally, whatever. And then people started reading the book and they said, hey, we want more. And I said, really? Yeah, I want to know more about Antonella. I want to know more about Marcelo. What happened to Marcelo? And stuff like that. So I said, well, maybe I need to write a second one, the sequel. So the inspiration came, and the sequel, The Sofia Bosco Effect, was born in 2022. It was obviously, the inspiration was flowing. So it took me 10 months this time to write it. And I think it's important to what I'm trying to share here with the Sofia Bosco effect is the effect we have, all of us. We might not know it, but all of us were a source of inspiration for someone. And I think that we need to be aware of it, because it's like somehow we're inspiring other people to be someone, to become someone. And Sofia Bosco, when she became herself, she became that source of inspiration for others. And on the second one is this, for her to discover the effect her actions, her words, her being has in other people.
Fantastic. Now, I love the fact that you were sharing that, how your life experiences, your travels, helped inspire this book. And before the show, we were talking about how we were both ended up going to the same study abroad program, of course, years apart. I went in there in the mid 90s. You went there in the 2000s, but we were both part of the study abroad program in Quebec, in l'Université Laval, and so that was neat, running into someone who had been part of the same program.
I know it was a great experience for me. I know it was for you as well. Quebec is so unique. I mean, every city has its charm, but Quebec is so unique. And actually, I mentioned Quebec on the second book, on the Sofia Bosco Effect, because Quebec had to be in one of my novels. And it's a funny story. I went to study abroad in 2000, summer 2000, and then I came back a few years later. And it's one of the stories I mentioned kind of in the book, is I go to this restaurant that it's a rotating restaurant and panoramic. And I go to have lunch with my friend. And it was a delicious meal. I will never forget the rum cake I had there. It was very delicious. I tried to replicate the recipe, but it was close, okay? But at least I got a little bit of it. But the point is, we're having lunch there, and we asked the waiter to take a picture of us. So I used my French, obviously my recently acquired French, and I said, can you take a picture of us? So the waiter takes the camera, not the phone. We didn't have phones over there back then. But he takes the camera and he hands the camera to the other waitress. and sits down next to us, and she takes a picture, and I was like, oh my, he didn't get my French. So I tried one more time, and I said, okay, can you take a picture of the two of us? And he took it. So I remember his name was Mike, because I kept the picture and all that, you know. So I go back to Quebec a few years later, and I go to have this time dinner at this restaurant, and I find out that Mike wasn't now the general manager of the restaurant. So I tell our waitress, you know what? I knew Mike. I tell her the story, and then Mike comes to our table and he says hi. And I said, you might not remember me, I know, but I just wanted to let you know I'm very happy for you, and I'm so happy to see you now as a general manager. It was a very nice story, and going back to Quebec was like going back to that little town. You know, it's not a little town, but going to a town where you had fun memories of.
That's right. That's a nice story.
Yeah.
Now, once again, where are folks able to get a hold of your books?
They are available on Amazon. We have it paperback and Kindle versions. Goodreads, Barnes & Noble, Google Books, eBay. So if you go online, you type on Google my name, Rosa Estela Mora, or the Sofia Bosco Effect, or Becoming Sofia Bosco, you get all the places where you can get it.
Now, I know you're a French teacher, and you speak several languages, right? What languages do you speak?
I speak, obviously, English and Spanish and French, and then I learned Italian. When I was learning French, my sister was learning Italian. So we were having, let's say, dinner, and she started speaking Italian, and I could translate whatever she was saying. And she was like, how come you understand? I said, it's so similar to Spanish and to French. So what I did, she doesn't know, don't tell her. I grabbed her books and I started reviewing the grammar, the Italian grammar. And I saw the similarities with the French grammar. And I said, I can easily learn this. So I have a friend who lives in Rome, in Italy, and he shared with me Italian music and stuff. So I started listening to music in Italian. And before I knew it, I was speaking Italian. So I was in Italy. It was back in 2013. I went to Milan. That's one of the places I mentioned on the first book, Becoming Sofia Bosco. And I'm in Milan. I get to the airport. We were flying from Marrakesh to Milan. It was the last flight, midnight. So the customs, they were kind of not in their best mood. So when I approached them and I showed them my passport, I started speaking Italian. And they were like, oh, lei parla benissimo l'italiano. And I was like, Andrea Bocelli and Rosa Mazzotti sono miei professori. You know, and they laughed at me. And then, okay, welcome to Italy, you know. So it was a funny story. But it's amazing how speaking different languages makes you become who you really are. Discover yourself.
That's right. And I'm always sharing with people, you know, if you want to learn a language, you have to not just learn your ABCs and some more. You have to learn the culture. You have to learn, you know, in order for you to really understand the language.
Totally. And I think it's essential for us to be exposed to different cultures because, I mean, we have just a little mindset when we're just exposed to one culture. But when you get to know what other people think and do, it expands your vision of life. And I think life gets better when you have something to look forward to.
Right. Is there anything else you'd like to share as we wrap up?
I just would like to say that let's have the courage to discover who we really are and to become who we want to be, and then share the effect of our love with others.
Oh, that's nice. That's nice.
Thank you.
Very nice. So the doors are always open here at 97.7 FM. Come back anytime to share any new project, any new adventures, any new projects that you might have going on. Wish you the best, and wish you the best with your teaching job.
Thank
and
you.
Let's say shout out to your kids out there.
Bonjour, mes élèves.
And until next time, you know, keep shining bright and keep writing.
Thank you, Joe. Merci beaucoup.
And thank you all for watching. Until next time, keep listening to 97.7 FM and keep watching 97.7 FM, The City.